Hey guys, welcome back. Let's give everybody just a minute here to come in.
Looking for that perfect foul.
We'll wait just a minute, give you all a few seconds to join up here. Um, while we're doing that, I'm just going to keep going over some of my notes here real fast, and then we'll get started here in just a second. Let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Okay, got a few people joining in. Let's give it just another second, and then we'll get going on this. Okay, thanks. Got some do have some new camera equipment coming, so it should help with some of the audio. I've had a number of people mention the audio on the some of the videos, so I'll have got some new equipment coming here in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we can get that taken care of. Indiana, wow, ride or die. That's a good bit from us down here in Alabama, but good to have you. Thanks for joining. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So I have actually got kind of a laundry list of stuff I want to go over today. And so where did I put my phone at? It's got the articles on it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is basically how well actually so the general theme of this is what's going to happen with our food shortages going forward in 2023. And this is why I wanted to do a live chat on this and talk about this a little bit more. So if y'all need me to stop, if you got any questions, just post them up, and we'll try to address them and go into it. Texas, Dallas, country gal. um, okay, all right. So the first thing is that we've got kind of exacerbating these issues, right? So we know we talked about to death a lot of the food shortage issues that we're seeing coming from the farming side of things, and talked in a video a couple days ago about really the price increases that we're seeing now are due to the shipping issues and the inflated price on petroleum products. So it has to do with the gas prices as well as just the general inflation that we're seeing in the economy right now. That's what's causing hey Chris, how you doing? That's what's causing a lot of the issues is the petroleum products and the shipping. So this is what's causing our prices at the food at the grocery store to skyrocket. The bigger issue that we're seeing actually is that there's no end in sight to that, right? So we've talked about if you go to like Ninja's channel, or actually Chris has some stuff on his. If you go over to Financial Prepper, they've got a great channel over there. But they constant talking about kind of what's going on, what's going to happen with inflation. A lot more intelligent people on that Jack with Nobody Special over at their channel. They can talk about what's going to happen with inflation and where they see that stuff going. My bottom line is that the inflation is going to continue to affect our food prices for the rest of this year. Fuel and oil prices are going to continue to affect our food prices for the until the end of the year, or beyond. Um, Skylar, thanks for jumping on the. Chris has a great channel. He's also got a welding channel that I know he's trying to put together. So if you have any desire to learn mechanics, machinery, welding, fabrication, all that stuff, he's got some stuff over there for you. Um, but okay, so gas prices. Let's say gas prices go up to $7, $8, $9 a gallon. We're already seeing $9 a gallon in California. As these continue to increase, then we're going to continue to see those food prices rise, because actually what a lot of the people aren't realizing is that what goes into it is the packaging. And so the packaging on this is all petroleum based, it's all plastic. And so it's all petroleum based packaging. So not only the shipping of the packaging and the shipping of the food increasing the price, but the actual packaging itself, when you buy your Kraft macaroni and it's all in the vacuum sealed bags, all that stuff adds to it. So it's substantial. So it's definitely something that's going to continue to make this worse. Now, on top of this, we have this list of things that I want to go over with you guys now. So let's get to the first one. We've got labor union shortages, and so this is. Let me see if I can pull up this article. So I have the notes here, but I wanted to make sure I got all the articles and everything for you guys. And when I post this video, I'll try to get all this information in there. But the labor union, they're talking 28,000 employees across 70 locations nationwide, and they deliver to 300,000 restaurants. Now, the restaurants, everybody kind of says, well, this isn't really that big of a deal because it's restaurants not affecting our food. But think about it this way: if people who generally say they're going out 10 times a month, those 10 meals now, because the restaurant prices have gone up, so we're affecting the labor and the shortages there. So we're affecting that industry as far as getting that money out of the economy. But also then those 10 meals that those people are doing are then being done at home, and so it puts added strain onto the food supply network, just at your local grocery stores. Um, we got yeah. If gas gets to $8 or $9, I think most people won't afford to work, and that's if they work from home, they won't be able to afford to drive to work. So it's the gas prices going up is a substantial problem and a lot bigger than I think people are realizing. So, anyways, so the labor union shortage, this is going to cause some added strain on the food supply network, and so that's where this gets a little bit scary. And guys, I'm not going to go into the politics of unions or whether unions are good or bad or any of that. But the bottom line is that this labor union has a lot of power, and 28,000 jobs nationwide. I realize it's not substantial, but the fact that they're delivering to 300,000 restaurants nationwide, that is substantial, and that is just an added hit onto our food supply network. Okay, so here's the big ticket item, though. This is the one that's really concerning. Is the largest pork company in the U.S. What is it? Smithfield Foods. Smithfield Foods has announced they're going to close their largest pork facility in California, and that is going to happen early in 2023. So again, we're not feeling the effect of that right now. That effect is going to come next year, and that's really going to hit the farmers now who supply pork to that processing plant. That's where it's going to become an issue, is because they're supplying it, but if they don't know that this is coming, or they haven't come up with a plan of where they're going to send that pork, all of a sudden you're going to have a bunch of pigs flood the market next year that nobody can get rid of. And we've seen what happens with that. It's easier for them to kill them because they just end up putting them down because they don't have anything else to do with them, or they sell them at a really reduced rate just to try to compensate for some of their losses there. So let me see. Hang on. Let me read some of these comments here before we go on. Sorry, I'm having trouble keeping up with everything. Local farmers' eggs are the same price as the store now. Yeah, that's we're seeing that here too. Realize the local farmers oftentimes are selling eggs at just a cost, or even at a loss, because they're actually trying to get your product, get you in there for other things. Yeah, Chris, I think you and I are on the same page with the unions, but I didn't want to get too political on this one. But you and I are definitely on the same one. Hey, Pete, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, absolutely, guys, hit the like button. That really does help get the information out there. Like, subscribe if you have not already done so. Share the channel, guys. Our channel has just been exploding lately. It's really, really exciting, and it's really all thanks to you guys just constantly being here, constantly being present, and listening to me drone on. So I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so the largest pork company, Smithfield Foods, closing a factory. That's a huge hit on the pork industry, right? So we're not even talking about all the fires that have happened this year. We're not even talking about the shortages with nitrogen and with urea for the fertilizer. We're not even going into any of that. All that comes into play next year. So Smithfield Foods closing a factory, that is going to be a huge hit. And so that's something to see coming in 2023. This will add the prices back in 2023. None of this affects us right now. So even though food is astronomical, food is cheaper this year than it's going to be next year. Now, one of the things that you can do to offset that, obviously, is buying food now, because you're getting ahead of some of the inflation that we know is going to continue coming. You're getting ahead of some of these shortages that we know are going to continue coming. But the other thing that Smithfield is owned by China, absolutely. But the other thing that this allows you to do is you're actually going to reduce some of your consumption then next year after you get, let's say you get a year's worth of a working pantry or whatever, 2 years worth, whatever recommendation you want to go by there. um, you you're then going to alleviate some of that stress on the food channels next year, because you've got a stockpile and you don't have to, you can kind of ride out these waves. You're almost dollar cost averaging your food then, once you get it to that point. And so that's why I that's why I'm so big on you guys having a good food supply of a working pantry. Again, we're not a prepper channel, although that is becoming kind of more of a topic of us. And Madeline and I don't consider ourselves preppers by any means, but we're a homesteader, and so there's a lot of overlap there. And because we do have to get through to next year's harvest and next year's thing, whatever is coming, and then we have to plan on what shortages we're going to have next year. So if I'm raising beef right now, then I have to see, okay, am I going to be able to raise as much beef next year? Right now, it's not looking like I'm going to be able to, because the price of hay is going up and the price of feed is going up. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at, okay, how do we get like 18 months to 2 years of beef on hand? Same thing with our pork and everything. So anyway, so that's what we're looking at doing with ours, and what I would suggest that y'all do with yours. So if you go back, I think it was a couple days ago, although this may be a video coming out this week. I can't remember now, but I've got a video. If it's not out, it'll be coming out, talking about how to get your food storage ready. The first step being, we want to focus on a 0 to a 30-day supply. So that's where we're looking at, okay, this is just the stuff that we normally eat. Let's get this first 30 days taken care of. And then after that, we start looking further. We go 30 days to 6 months, and that's so we want to break this into sections. So basically, we're applying like Dave Ramsey's financial baby steps to our food supply at home. And so 30 days to 6 months is the next step, and then you move 6 months to a year, 1 year to infinity, and beyond, right? So at that 1 year to infinity, this is where we start looking at, okay, can we produce our own food? How much of our own food can we produce reasonably? And it's not going to be all in 1 year. A lot of people buy seeds thinking, I can just plant all these seeds and I will be good to go, and I'll just throw them in the ground and it's done. It's not going to work that well. Gardening is a lifelong learning process, and figuring this out, figuring out your production. You're not going to be able to produce even 50% of your own vegetables in your first year. So if you haven't got that started, now is a very good time to get that started. All this goes back to the old adage of the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. It's time to get started. All right, let me read some of these comments. So Chris, financial prepper, posted bakery products are up 10%, poultry, fish, and meat 13.8, fresh fruits and vegetables 8.1, and eggs 11.2. I actually thought it was all higher than that, Chris. So I'm not sure where you got those numbers from. The ones that I had just read, eggs were up closer to like 50%, but I'm not sure when you're comparing that to either. So if you've got it handy, post it down there, and we can talk about it. But yeah, Pete, everyone needs to be looking ahead. Yeah, so Skylar, you're absolutely right. The beef sale price will be higher, but at a certain point in time, it becomes um, cost ineffective. And here's what I mean by that: is right now, let's just say a whole beef costs you, let's just say $2,500, right? So if you get a whole cow, it's going to cost you $2,500. Let's just throw that number out there. Arbitrary numbers, all changes based on the size and if you're doing grass fed versus grain fed. But $2,500, let's just throw that number out there. If my costs increase and I have to raise that price to, let's say I have to raise it next year to $3,400. Okay, there's a psychological barrier there for people when they start buying food, and even though it is cheaper to buy that food in bulk, it becomes an issue when they try to when you try to actually sell it. A lot of people cannot see that far ahead. And so it means that you don't sell as much. So yeah, you can offset it on the customers that are willing to buy it, but then you'll have people that'll say, you know what, screw it, I'll just go buy it from Walmart. They're actually paying more for a lower quality meat throughout the year, but they don't get hit with this like one-time $3,000 bill. So you find that a lot of your customers, that's where they really struggle. And that's why a lot of processors or a lot of small farmers like us do sell by the quarter, is because a lot of people just can't see that far ahead. But very few people would actually just go through a quarter in a year, maybe if you were an individual. But for us, for a family of five, we're doing 1 cow and 2 pigs for us per year. So to put that, and it's not like all we ever eat is meat. We just do a reasonable amount, and that's what it works out to for us. Yeah, invest in food. You'll beat the stock market all day long right now. Okay, thanks, Chris. That's this month. Okay, appreciate it. So those numbers were this month. Wow, that is substantial. Um, okay. All right. So pork processing being shut down here in California. That is going to affect us nationwide. I'm not sure what Smithfield Foods. I'm not sure how their breakdown is as far as what's internal to what stays here, what gets exported. But being the largest pork processor in the U.S. is going to take a massive hit. The reason that they're shutting it down, by the way, is actually the bigger thing here. They say they're shutting it down due to the increased regulation of California. Now, it's a lot more involved to just move a factory to, say, Texas or Florida, where there's a lot less regulation. It's substantially more involved than that. And then you still have the federal regulations on that, which are a nightmare, anyways, because you always have to have your USDA inspector there, and they have to pay for that. It's very expensive. But they can't just like pack up their employees and send everybody down. So getting people that are trained to actually do this processing and everything is actually a big process. So they have just decided, in the light of all the regulations that California has added on this, on top of the federal government, it's not worth it anymore to them. And either it's too much of a headache, or it's just too much to deal with it from a financial aspect. So that's where the problem comes in. Okay, so and Chris, you actually did a video on this the other day. I think it was yesterday. So Goyo's CEO, maybe 2 days ago, Goyo's CEO talking about warning of food shortages. And then we've got Hormel's CEO has also warning of food shortages. So these are guys that are in the know, in the industry. This is how they make their billions and millions of dollars of profit, is by knowing what's going on with the food supply. They have more information. They have political connections that we don't have. They have data analysis done at their businesses on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, telling them exactly what is going on, exactly what to inspect going forward. And I guarantee you, these guys know what the prices of a lot of their products are going to be in 6 months to a year out. They're going to know what's going on. And so the two major hitters, so Hormel CEO and Goyo CEO, and I don't have the names here in front of me, but they're both talking about large food shortages due to big supply gaps. And so, like I said, go over to Chris's channel, Financial Prepper. You can check out he's got a video kind of going over some of the details on the Goyo CEO's comments. But the bottom line is that we have two kind of industry experts in this telling us that we're going to have massive shortages. This is not just Jeff Borgen saying it. This is now that we've got industry experts saying, hey, yep, this is going to happen. So again, all that combined with the fertilizer shortages that we've talked about to death, the shipping shortages that, if you go over to Sage News, you can get more information about those. But the shipping shortages are not getting resolved anytime soon. The rising fuel prices are actually going to make them worse, because you're having people now parking and selling their trucks, finding different jobs, or just deciding for early retirement, or even just like a partial, like, hey, I'm going to retire right now because I have enough money to get through for a couple of years, and I'll start working when all this crap sorts itself out. And so those supply chain problems are going to be there. The way around a lot of this is, first off, to buy local and get the supply chain out of the way. The fact that you're paying $1,200 for tomatoes that traveled 1,000 miles is ridiculous. And I got it. They're cheaper at the store because they taste like the packaging that they were shipped in. Buying good local produce that was raised and are grown and livestock that was raised in ways that actually contribute to the nutritional value of that food. That is going to be probably the biggest thing that you can do right now. Keeping your money local, keeping because then you can work out things like barter too. We'll barter all day long with people. If they want to have a cow and they want to trade me something that's worthwhile to our farm, we'll do that. We'll take that trade all day long. But the bottom line is that if you get with your local producers, local farmers, I realize it may be a little bit more now on certain things, but over the long term, it's going to end up being cheaper, and you're going to establish those relationships now. Establishing relationships with farmers that can produce you that beef and that hog every year is going to alleviate a lot of stress for you. Let me look through some of these comments. Okay, so Here I can't even. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. But if beef prices go up too much, there will be demand destruction, and it will become more of a luxury than a staple. So I'm thinking ahead of how to market it as such. You're absolutely right. So beef will, and this is what they want, right? So if you go to they're pushing the synthetic beef, which guys, that's gross. I'm not going to eat beef made out of some mushroom that's artificially inseminated to be more flavorful than a mushroom. I'm not eating that, and I'm not eating tofu. So um, I'm not going to put that processing and those chemicals in my body, and I'm just not going to do it. It's gross. Synthetic beef is gross. But that's what they're going for. They're going for that. It'll never be an outright ban on this because, guys, the bottom line is the elites want it. So there's always a channel for elites to have things. Think about England. Think about firearms in England, right? They didn't actually outright ban it. They just made it so astronomically expensive that only the elite could afford to have it because you had to have land and you have to have all these security upgrades and everything to be able to store it. The sheriff has to do these investigations, so you have to have some political connections in there to make it happen. But they didn't actually just outright say no more guns for any citizen ever. They always make exceptions for people in power and people that are elites. That's how laws are always written. And so there'll never be just this outright ban on it. They just may make it very expensive. So if you look at New Zealand is passing their little fart tax on sheep and cattle, right? So they're going to make it more expensive for sheep and cattle because of their green initiatives. Because they don't know what they're doing, and so what they're going to do is they're going to make it a lot more expensive for the farmers to raise it. The farmer then offsets that by sending the cost to the customer. But smaller farmers like me that can't afford $1,000 fee per year or can't afford to ride out that market wave until their customers adjust to it, only the larger ones that actually have the capital to do that will be able to make that work. And so that New Zealand issue is just a stepping stone for us, right? We're right behind, and so that's where we need to vote and keep fighting this stuff and make sure that these regulations don't come to pass. Overtaxation, when you look at histories of governments falling, we have increased social safety networks, we have overtaxation, we have the price controls. Those things always seem to come in right before you have some massive issues internally to your economics. Uh, okay, let's see. Yep, Pete. Yeah, using local definitely a way to go. Yeah, so we pressure can a lot as well. And Truck Boy, good to see you, man. But yeah, so pressure canning a lot of your foods, guys. It does save freezer space. We have a generator on hand that if we have these rolling blackouts that people are starting to get worried about, then we can fire up the generator. I can pressure can everything that I have in the freezer. That way it's not all going bad. Now, it's not exactly what I want to do because I want to be able to grill up a steak every once in a while, but I can pressure can and still make that food usable. And on that, when you get these holes in half cows and pigs, get with your butcher beforehand. Make sure you collect up the offal and make sure you get all the lard and make sure you get your bones back. And here's the reason for it. All those things are very, very valuable. The offal we don't eat the offal. A lot of people do, and that's fine. As of right now, none of us like it enough. So what we do is we actually end up running that through a meat grinder, and we use it with our dogs, and it helps offset some of the dog food. But bones, making bone broth, and then grinding your bones once they've been boiled down, you can add them back as fertilizer. I believe it's calcium that it adds to your soil, but you can add it back to your soil for your garden. And then the lard, if your guys aren't cooking with lard yet, good pasture raised lard has an exorbitant amount of health benefits. Look that up. It's too much for me to know. Too much for me to remember, anyways. But they have a ton of health benefits if they're pasture raised. If they're traditional raised in a confined area feeding operation, you lose about 50% of those benefits. Yeah, Chris, definitely we need more small businesses, less big government. Big government tends to be the biggest constraint on small businesses. Small businesses have always been the backbone for America, and so small businesses really are what keep our economy strong and able to respond to issues. And so I'm always about people starting up small businesses. Um, let's see, ride or die, working on getting a new stove. Great on you. Yeah, pressure canning beef, 6 to 8 weeks. Wait on some. Are you talking about 6 to 8 week wait on the new stove, the pressure canner, or the freezer? I guess maybe I'm reading it too fast. That's why I'm not making sense of it. But Okay, dog breeders begging for hearts, tongues, and bones and livers. Yeah, I'm sure. The fact is, I think that a lot of the butchers have to pay to have that stuff removed if the customers don't get it. So they'll probably be more than willing to give you not only yours but somebody else's if you make a good deal with them and just use them regularly. And most of our customers do not collect up their offal from their pigs, and so we end up getting all the lard and the offal that's left over. So if I take 25 pigs to the processor, I end up with like 25 pigs worth of lard and offal, and that lard, when you can it and everything, then that guys, that's a great fat for you to have. You need fats in your diet, and you need that on your shelf. So we have talked in some videos about how to put all this together. I've got another video coming out about how to, the numbers that you actually need to build your year pantry and everything. I've already posted one, but I've got another one coming out. But Hang on one second. Not legal here in Texas. Have to find farmers to get it from. Oh, you're not legal to feed your dogs that, or to get it from the butcher. I'm missing something. Right or not? Okay, so stoves. You can't get a new stove right now for anybody watching. If you're wondering, that's what he's talking about. 6 to 8 weeks wait on new stoves. Wow. I need a new one, so I'm glad you said that because we need to get ours ordered. Wow, that's just insane. Okay, so some of it. I guess I'm not following. Process limits of what they can sell here. Okay, gotcha. Um, so get with the farmers, guys, and get with the local farmers. Make those deals and those connections now. The amount of offal that you can get, all the lard, guys. I cannot emphasize this enough. You have to have fats in your diet, and so you can only stock up on so much olive oil, and canola oil is not really that good for you. Lard, pasture raised lard is very, very healthy for you. It's a great cooking source of lard. It'll make you, if you're into baking, it'll make you better pie crust than anything else. And it stores for a very, very long time. So get lard, get somebody that produces pigs. If you can find a pig producer, you can talk to them about producing you a lard pig. Actually, that is hugely beneficial. We're actually going to do that next year for us. None of our customers have expressed any interest in it, but for us, we're going to actually raise a couple lard pigs that they won't give that much meat, but they'll still give quite a bit of meat. I shouldn't say that much, but in comparison to a standard like a Duroc or a Hampshire or a Berkshire, they won't give that much. But the lard that you'll get from them will be substantially more. Beef tallow, yeah, Pete. Beef tallow is a good option. I don't know anything about the health benefits of it, and I don't cook with it, so I can't really talk intelligently on that. I know that it's popular and a lot of people use it. Old days, it was more popular for doing things like pemmican and stuff like that. But yeah, you can render your chicken fat too. I guess it just doesn't sound quite as appetizing to me, but I'm sure it renders down just fine. I guess I've never rendered it, so I don't know what it tastes like. Yeah, as far as the lard breed, so Kunis actually are a great lard breed. If you raise them out because they're a heritage breed, they tend to raise slower. But if you grain feed them, or we use the sunflower seed protein. If you do that, then you can do something on a Kuni that they'll get a lot more fat on them. You want your processing time. If I remember right, I think it's about 10 months from weaning to processing time. They do grow a little bit slower. But you can get a substantial amount of fat from them. If you can find old line Durocs, then a lot of those ones will have a lot of lard on them. Now, Durocs are known as a lean pig now, but a lot of the old lines will still have a good layer of lard on them. Newer ones, because all that traits have been bred out of them, it's hard to find those. But old line pigs, because all of them had these nice layers of fat on them initially. So if you're going to raise your own, look for older lines if you want some more fat on them. It'll also give you better bacon, just as an FYI. Tastes like chicken flavored butter. I might give that a try. That didn't sound that appetizing at first, but yeah, that could work. Okay, so we're seeing it tastes like chicken flavored butter for the chicken, the rendering down the chicken fat. Okay, so the next ticket item that I want to talk to you guys about was the drought that's going on the western United States right now. So those of us that are out here, and right, I'm in Alabama, we get 56 inches of annual rainfall. we very rarely run across a drought. And if we do, when I call what I call a drought is when we run out of rain and we don't have rain for like a month, right? We get a ton of rain here. So we're not usually that susceptible to the droughts, and we don't usually see the effects of them here. So, we don't usually see them until we start seeing rising costs of things. The Hoover Dam, I believe it's Lake Mead. They're talking right now that the lake is so low that they're actually finding bodies that are decades old that people have disposed of, and they're like human bodies that like mobsters whatever disposed in the lake. There was one that was found in a 55-gallon barrel that was sunk down there that had been somebody had been shot. So. It, the drought is causing some problems there. That lake provides water to a substantial portion of the Southwest. So I'm not 100% sure what the actual numbers are on it. I did read that it actually provides water to Mexico, which I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that, and I don't know enough about the geography of Lake Mead to speak intelligently on it. But it's a huge agricultural area there. Lots of water that it provides in California, and so California is having massive droughts and that's going to affect a lot of their production of citrus and a lot of their, I think they do avocados there. And even though trees get those roots that go deep and they can do a lot with their own water, they still require irrigation. And one of the issues that you run into when you start having these things is, even if the plants have been allowed to grow naturally without being irrigated, they would have had less production. The same thing with fertilizer; they would have less production. But then when you have these shortages, you're not weaning a crack addict off. You have only strong, good foundation plants, and so it's one of the reasons why we've never been real big on fertilizers, and we try to stay away from synthetic fertilizers as much as possible. It's because our foundation of our trees is much stronger not having that. Because the trees that are weak will die off. We'll replace them. Our production numbers may be lower now than what we would like, but over the course of time, as you have fertilizer issues and you can't get it, or you have droughts, we have a stronger root stock, and so we don't have a lower production during those years. Say chicken. Lori says that chicken sausage is excellent. Can't say I've ever had it. I have had turkey sausage. I was not a big fan of that. So hopefully the chicken sausage is better. But I don't know. Maybe it's like the turkey burgers, right? They just don't beat a beef burger. Like, if you guys ever watched that episode of Parks and Recreation on it, you need to check that one out. But turkey burger just doesn't compare to a beef burger. But if you like chicken sausage, Lori, that's great. I'm sure it's a lot better for you than the pork sausage, and has a lot less fat. Okay, so that was really what I wanted to go over with you guys. I don't want to drone on too long on the live chat. I really appreciate y'all watching. But basically, what I'm telling you right now is that all of this is going to affect the prices in 2023, and that's going to be the bigger problem. Is that it's going to affect all your food prices for next year. Stock up now, get your pantries done, get everything in order, regardless of the prices right now, because it's only going to be worse next year. And I mean, substantially worse next year, to the point to where next year it may not be, do I have the money to buy it? It may be more, is it even available to purchase? And then what is available to purchase may be substantially more expensive. So what we're trying to do, like I said, we're even taking ours from a 1-year food pantry to try to take it to a 2-year food pantry. I had somebody in the comments that he did doing like a 7-year food pantry. I was like, that's a lot. But bottom line is like I said, we're not preppers, and we're not like the doomsday preppers talking about trying to store 35 years of food for 20 people. Like there are limits here to make it practical. But certainly having stuff to be able to ride through bad times. We all know hard times are coming, regardless of whether they hit us now or not. And we could all be wrong, right? Financial prepper could be wrong. Economic ninja could be wrong. I could be wrong. Jack could be wrong. Everybody could be wrong, and everything just goes fine and hunky-dory. At some point in time, it's going to rain. At some point in time, we're going to have another 2008, another 1920, another 1987. We're going to have these issues, and they will eventually come, regardless of whether we're right about this one, the timing on this one or not. I think we are, but it doesn't really matter whether we're right now. You still need to have that in place. So again, not trying to turn this into a prepper channel, just trying to make it this a common sense aspect of homesteading. We all have to prepare to a certain aspect. So yeah, Pete, I hope we're wrong, but I don't think we are. But Anyways, guys, I really, really appreciate y'all watching. Please like, subscribe, share if you haven't. I think everybody here is probably subscribed, but at least that's watching it live. Anybody, if you're watching it after the fact, please like, subscribe, and share, guys. It really does help us out. Thank you guys so much. Our channel has just been exploding, and it is truly all because you guys have been sticking with me and watching and just spreading the love around. Chris, let me know, man. I'd love to do a video with you again here soon. So shoot me a text and let's get something on the calendar because it's been a minute since we've done one. But we will talk to y'all later. Have a great Sunday, guys. And I've got a video coming out 6:30 tomorrow. I've got one now coming out pretty much 6:30 every day. The only day I'm not doing one at 6:30 is Sundays. Sundays we're going to start doing a live chat, but we're trying to get one 6:30 a.m. every day, 6:30 a.m. Central Time here every day for our videos. If I miss one, bear with me. It still is a busy summer, but I've got about a week and a half ahead right now, so we should be set. And then if I see kind of breaking news things, I'll post those as they come out. But anyway, so that's kind of what our schedule is and what we're trying to stick with. So bear with me, guys, and help us get through this summer, busy summer. But thanks again. Have a wonderful day.